Get ready, news junkies. The digital world is spinning faster than ever, and Tarnished Tales is your pit stop for the pulse-pounding updates you cannot afford to miss. We're diving headfirst into the stories that are shaping our world, from the deepest dives into gaming design philosophy to the seismic shifts in the industry. Buckle up, because the news cycle waits for no one, and you're about to get the inside scoop on what's hot, what's not, and what's next. Are you ready to stay ahead of the curve? Let's go. First up, we're uncovering the bold design choices behind a critically acclaimed title that dared to be different. The director himself is opening up about crafting an experience for a specific audience, not for universal appeal. What does this mean for the future of game development and player expectations? Then, we pivot to the man behind that vision. Why did a legendary game director decide to leave a powerhouse studio after decades of iconic work? We're digging into the personal ambitions and the strategic moves that are setting the stage for his next big challenge in the gaming world. Following that, we're exploring a game that's sparking passionate debate. Its critical reception paints one picture, but the player response tells another. We're breaking down the divide and asking, what makes a game truly resonate, and who is it for? And finally, we're looking at a broader trend in the industry. Are the most successful games of today the ones that embrace their unique identity, rather than trying to please everyone? We're drawing parallels with other major titles that have found massive success by sticking to their guns. Don't miss a beat. Hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and join the conversation. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Divisive by design, the director's vision. Dragon's Dogma 2 has carved out a distinct niche in the gaming landscape, earning a strong critical reception while simultaneously igniting passionate discussions among its player base. Amidst this varied response, game director Hideaki Itsuno has shared his perspective, revealing that the game's polarizing nature was a deliberate outcome of his design philosophy. In a candid interview following his departure from Capcom, Itsuno explained that his intention was never to create a universally appealing experience akin to a typical Nintendo title. Instead, he focused on crafting a game tailored for a specific segment of the gaming community. I made the game not like a Nintendo one to be liked by all the people, but for a certain type of audience, so it's normal if some people outside that target audience don't like the game, Itsuno stated. He further elaborated that while some players may not connect with its unique mechanics and challenging aspects, those who do appreciate the game have shown immense love and recognition for the intricate details and the effort invested. However, people who enjoyed the game really loved it, appreciated the details and work. I'm very proud of it, he added, underscoring his satisfaction with the outcome. Itsuno also shed light on his decision to leave Capcom after a significant tenure, which included the development and release of Dragon's Dogma 2. His departure was driven by a desire to pursue original AAA game development rather than continuing with sequels for established franchises like Devil May Cry and Dragon's Dogma. He has since joined Tencent-owned Lightspeed Japan studio to embark on this new creative endeavor. Itsuno emphasized that, considering his age and the evolving landscape of the gaming industry with fewer original AAA releases, this move represents a critical opportunity. The gaming industry has decreased the number of AAA releases, and I was asked to create a new AAA by Lightspeed. I'm not young anymore, so more than now it's the right moment, it's more like, this is my last chance to challenge myself, he explained. This sentiment highlights a personal drive to create something new and distinct in the twilight of his prolific career. He revealed that the thought of leaving Capcom had crossed his mind during the development of Dragon's Dogma 2, but he ultimately chose to see the project through to completion before making the transition. This commitment to finishing what he started speaks volumes about his dedication to his craft and his teams. The game's design, with its emphasis on player agency and a world that doesn't hold your hand, has clearly resonated with a dedicated audience, even if it meant alienating others. The ongoing discussions about its difficulty, its open-world design, and its unique combat system continue to fuel its legacy. Hold on tight, because the story behind this director's departure is just as fascinating. Next, we delve into the personal motivations and industry shifts that led him to this new chapter. A New Dawn, Itsuno's leap to Tencent. Hideaki Itsuno, a name synonymous with iconic gaming franchises like Devil May Cry and Dragon's Dogma, has recently departed from Capcom after an illustrious career spanning over 3 decades. His move to establish a new development studio in collaboration with Tencent Games, known as Lightspeed Japan Studio, marks a significant turning point, driven by a deep-seated desire for creative autonomy and a final, ambitious challenge. In a revealing interview, Itsuno articulated the core reasons behind his decision, citing his age and the evolving nature of AAA game development as primary catalysts. At 55, and with game development cycles stretching ever longer, he views this transition as his last chance to forge a new intellectual property from the ground up. For me, based on my age, this is my last chance, Itsuno told VGC. The gaming industry has decreased the number of AAA releases, and I was asked to create a new AAA by Lightspeed. I'm not young anymore, so more than now it's the right moment. It's more like, this is my last chance to challenge myself. He elaborated that remaining at Capcom, while fulfilling, would likely have meant a continued focus on sequels for beloved series like Devil May Cry and Dragon's Dogma. For Capcom, creating Devil May Cry and Dragon's Dogma sequels is always going to be the top priority, and keeping in mind that making a game takes 4 to 5 years, this might be my last big opportunity, he explained. Itsuno expressed that he is not averse to making sequels, stating, "It's not like I don't want to make them, I do." However, he finds it increasingly challenging to balance the extensive time commitment required for such projects with the personal satisfaction derived from creating something entirely new. Having already realized his creative visions with titles like Devil May Cry 5 and Dragon's Dogma 2, he felt a compelling pull towards a fresh start. It's hard to balance the time it takes with the personal satisfaction of making them, and with Devil May Cry 5 and Dragon's Dogma 2, I already did what I wanted to make, he admitted. His departure from Capcom occurred shortly after the release of Dragon's Dogma 2 in August of the previous year. By November, he had officially announced the formation of Lightspeed Japan Studio, a subsidiary of Tencent Games, with operations based in both Tokyo and Osaka. The studio is currently focused on developing a new AAA action game, with a significant portion of its initial 40-person team comprising former Capcom colleagues, indicating a strong collaborative foundation. This strategic move allows Itsuno to leverage his extensive experience while pursuing a new creative vision, aiming to blend the best elements of his past work into a groundbreaking new title. The industry watches with keen interest as Itsuno embarks on this new, ambitious phase of his career. But the story doesn't end with his departure. The game itself is a major talking point. Next, we dive into why Dragon's Dogma 2 has become such a polarizing hit. The audience divide, why Dragon's Dogma 2 polarizes players. Dragon's Dogma 2 has emerged as a significant talking point in the gaming community, not just for its ambitious scope and gameplay, but for the stark contrast between its critical acclaim and player reception. While Metacritic scores often reflect a strong consensus, the user score for Dragon's Dogma 2 tells a different story, highlighting a clear division among those who have experienced the game firsthand. Director Hideaki Itsuno, speaking publicly for the first time since his departure from Capcom, has offered insight into this disparity, suggesting that the game's polarizing nature was an intentional design choice. "I made the game not like a Nintendo one to be liked by all the people, but for a certain type of audience, so it's normal if some people outside that target audience don't like the game," Itsuno explained. This statement directly addresses the core of the debate. The game was crafted with a specific player profile in mind, rather than aiming for broad, universal appeal. Itsuno emphasized his pride in the game's reception among its intended audience, noting, however, people who enjoyed the game really loved it, appreciated the details and work. "I'm very proud of it." This suggests that the game's challenging mechanics, intricate world building, and less-than-obvious guidance systems are features that deeply resonate with a particular player base. The critical consensus, often averaging around 87/100 across platforms, acknowledges the technical achievements and innovative design elements. However, the user score, hovering around 6.510, indicates that a significant portion of players found the experience less satisfying. This gap is a testament to Itsuno's philosophy of catering to a specific audience. The game's design choices, such as its demanding combat, the lack of extensive hand-holding, and certain performance issues that were addressed post-launch, have all contributed to the varied player experiences. While some players found these elements to be hallmarks of a deep, rewarding RPG, others perceived them as frustrations or barriers to entry. Itsuno also touched upon his reasons for leaving Capcom, which he stated was to pursue new AAA projects rather than continuing with sequels for Devil May Cry and Dragon's Dogma. This ambition to create original content aligns with the idea of developing games that cater to specific tastes, rather than adhering to the established formulas that often satisfy a wider audience. The success of games that embrace a strong, unique identity, even if polarizing, is a growing trend in the industry. Dragon's Dogma 2, in this context, can be seen as a prime example of a title that prioritized its core vision over mass market appeal, leading to both fervent admiration and notable criticism. This deliberate approach to game design echoes a broader industry trend we're seeing. Next, we explore how embracing a unique identity is leading to success in today's gaming landscape. The not-for-everyone advantage, industry trends in focus. In an era where broad appeal often dictates success, a growing number of critically acclaimed games are proving that a targeted design philosophy, one that deliberately eschews universal appeal, can be a powerful strategy. Dragon's Dogma 2, alongside titles like Helldivers 2 and Space Marine 2, is being highlighted as a sterling example of this burgeoning trend, demonstrating the potency of embracing a unique identity. Dragon's Dogma 2 director Hideaki Itsuno articulated this sentiment clearly when reflecting on his game's reception. "I made the game not like a Nintendo one to be liked by all the people, but for a certain type of audience, so it's normal if some people outside that target audience don't like the game." This perspective aligns with a powerful industry mantra that suggests games designed for everyone often end up resonating with no one. The success of titles like Helldivers 2, with its developers' stated mission of creating a game for everyone is a game for no one, and Space Marine 2's CEO echoing that, "The core of our manifesto is we do not design and produce games for everyone," underscores a deliberate shift away from catering to the lowest common denominator. This approach doesn't mean abandoning innovation. Even Nintendo, known for its accessible yet deep gameplay, has taken bold steps with franchises like The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. However, Itsuno's point is that Nintendo often refines its experiences to smooth out rough edges, ensuring a broader audience can enjoy them. In contrast, games that lean into their distinct mechanics, even if they are niche or challenging, can foster a more dedicated and passionate player base. Dragon's Dogma 2's unique combat system, its intricate world design, and its less conventional questing structures are precisely the elements that have captivated its core audience, despite potentially alienating others. Itsuno's departure from Capcom to found a new studio under Tencent, Lightspeed Studios, further emphasizes this drive for creative freedom. He expressed a desire to create new AAA experiences rather than solely focusing on sequels, noting the time constraints and the personal satisfaction derived from original IP development. For Capcom, creating Devil May Cry and Dragon's Dogma sequels is always going to be the top priority, and keeping in mind that making a game takes 4 to 5 years, "This might be my last big opportunity," he stated. His ambition is to synthesize the best of his past work into something entirely new, a vision that inherently embraces a distinct identity rather than a universally palatable one. The success of these games suggests a growing audience hungry for experiences that are unapologetically themselves. By focusing on a specific vision and executing it with passion, developers can cultivate loyalty and create lasting impact, proving that sometimes, not being for everyone is the surest way to be loved by someone. We've covered some incredible stories today, but what's coming up next? Stay tuned for our rapid-fire recap and all the ways you can stay connected with Tarnished Tales. That's a wrap on today's essential updates. We dove into Dragon's Dogma 2's divisive design, explored director Hideaki Itsuno's bold career, move to Tencent, analyzed the game's polarizing player reception, and saw how embracing a unique identity is shaping the industry. Don't miss out on future breakdowns. Hit that like button, subscribe for more, ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload, drop a comment with your thoughts on today's stories, and follow us on all our social channels to stay in the loop.